Even though there is no evidence whatsoever to suggest that Philip Schofield is an alleged paedophile, there is evidence to suggest that he is indeed a groomer, because he met a young boy around 10 years old at the time, made sure he had a long-term close relationship with him, got him a job at his workplace, which is television, because the lad said he wanted to work on TV, and he then initiated a sexual relationship with him once he turned the legal age. Now that is classic textbook grooming. And even though the other lad hasn't been named by Schofield, the press, celebrities, etc., it's pretty obvious it's Matthew McGreevy. Now there is a disturbing timeline of events that lead up to now, where we are with Schofield and this morning, and everything has turned to shit. So as far as we know, allegedly it all started when Philip Schofield met Matthew McGreevy and is pictured with him and other members of the Two-Faced Theatre Group. And in that photo, McGreevy is clearly around 10 years old. Not 15, like the mainstream media or Schofield are saying, but far younger than that. And I don't understand, because this picture is making the rounds on social media, on the internet. And in that photo, the lad clearly isn't 15. And Philip Schofield has clearly met him around the time of this photo. So there was nothing on social media between them. However, 5 days after Matthew McGreevy turned 15, Schofield started to follow him on Twitter. And McGreevy hadn't even asked him to follow him. Then a month or so later, Schofield went to do a Q&A session at the same Two-Faced Theatre company. Schofield then started to tweet McGreevy 9 days after he turned 18. Now before that, Schofield hadn't tweeted him publicly at all, ever. And then a few months later, McGreevy was invited to go to the This Morning studios, and this was in 2014. The following year, McGreevy was given a month's runner apprenticeship on This Morning, and he also had a clip of him interviewing Philip Schofield, which was aired. And it was around this time that YouTube prankster Jack Jones filmed Schofield and McGreevy together in a bar. It's also been suggested that the runner job was arranged by Schofield himself for McGreevy. And so a year later, McGreevy moved to London and got a full-time job at This Morning. And interestingly, it was around this time Philip Schofield was on Snapchat a lot with men who were in their late teens, early 20s. And looking at the Snapchat, he was talking to them well into the night. Now, this is the interesting bit here. When This Morning won at the 2018 National Television Awards, this McGreevy fella went on stage with the rest of the team to collect the award. Now, runners are never given this privilege. But 2 years later at the same awards show, Schofield allegedly didn't even want McGreevy at the backstage VIP area and had him removed. Reasons why aren't clear. And there is a photo that's just surfaced on the internet of someone who looks like McGreevy confronting Holly Willoughby outside the National Television Awards. It looks to me like Schofield had his eye on McGreevy ever since he met him at the Two-Faced Theatre Company, and likely got into a relationship with him when he was around 18. Whether it was before the legal age of consent, nobody knows. But why on earth would Schofield press on the fact that the relationship was nothing illegal? But still, having met McGreevy when he was around 10 years old certainly looks dodgy, doesn't it? Now, when I was a prison officer for 11 years and having worked with nonces in jail and knowing about their court cases and how these monsters went about their business, there's usually a sweetener to entice kids, youngsters, so they can have their wicked way with them. Now, I think Schofield may have promised McGreevy to make him a TV presenter. I mean, where else, what other television show have you ever seen a mere runner who is at the bottom of the rung of a production team on a TV show get to interview the top star of that show? Matthew McGreevy had that privilege. Why? And this is why Matthew McGreevy was moved to Loose Women to be a runner on there, because this didn't work out. And McGreevy probably, likely, had feelings for him by then anyway. And again, this is all classic signs of a groomer in action, getting what they want, using false promises, lies, deception, and playing around with someone's life to satisfy their sexual appetites. Who knows? That being said, I think McGreevy has been paid off, because it's clear now there was never a super injunction, and that's been proven by people coming out of the woodwork and just laying into Philip Schofield. And the only person who can really shed light and tell everyone what really went on is Matthew McGreevy, but he won't, because he's been paid off. That's the only logical conclusion I can come to regarding all this. And there we go, that's my video, yet another one. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and until the next time, look after yourselves, and Roger Trout.